Hello guys, welcome to my first actual video where I'm talking. Wow, that was a stutter and a half. If you couldn't tell, I have a stutter, and what's it called? You will definitely notice it whenever I have guests over to talk. But I am really excited for this channel, and I don't expect great views out of it. I don't expect to make so much money out of it, but I hope whoever does watch it really enjoys the content. I will be posting long videos where like maybe I'll cut like one or two things if like someone like is open about something and then they're like actually maybe I don't want that online, but uh, other than that the rest of this was fine. Then I'll just post a long-term video of that, and then I will post also a short down edited version of the videos I have with guests or whatnot. This one I will likely do the same, pick out like the most important things just for people that don't have the biggest attention span. I can post that for them. Otherwise, you can watch this long video, maybe put it on while you do chores with it. But I hope this is really impactful to you because ultimately I want people to know that they're not alone in their fight with things, and that no matter what culture you are, there are people that are like you and that understand you. And part of why I wanted to start this channel was because oh shoot. I I really hope that picked up on the mic. I forgot to hold the mic. Um, but anyways, I I really want to start this channel because of my professor. He asked a deep question in the religions class where it was, what keeps you up at night? And some people weren't wanting to talk, and that's perfectly okay. And as my professor said, just because you don't speak up about like what's bothering you doesn't mean that you're not going through it. And we just hope that for those that do speak up, your voice is heard, and not only are you accepted, but also those that kept quiet are accepted, and that they understand that they're not alone in their battles. And that'll be reiterated a lot through my videos, that you are not alone. And as a Liverpool fan, I watch a bunch of soccer. Our motto is "You will never walk alone," and that I think that's what also made me fell in love with Liverpool, was that just the idea of that no matter like what circumstances you're going through, you will never walk alone. No matter if it's your best day or your rainiest day, you will always have somebody by your side for you. And I think somebody that was by my side for a lot of my life, and uh, through a lot of the struggles, was my stepsister. I will not get into any names about them unless somebody from my family or something comes on, then we can mention names. But until then, I will just say my stepsister. But even still, then that feels like a disrespect to her, because throughout all the trauma that we've been through, I would call her my sister. Even though she's not blood, she's blood to me. And this is why. What keeps me up at night? What keeps me up at night is my little siblings. My little sister and my little brother. We grew up in alcoholic households. Luckily, my little siblings were too young to experience that for the most part. But now they're coming up into an age where they're understanding of it. And I really hope this video gets out to my dad and my stepmom, because they need to understand that what they've done in the past has impacts on us. And not much as of yet right now for my little siblings, but very much so me and my stepsister. During nights, we would always go over for holidays, like before Christmas Eve. We would go over to celebrate. And some nights when the littles were either asleep or out at grandma's house, it was me and my sister there. And we would play Stranger Things Monopoly for hours on end. We would either play on one of our Xboxes to play together, or we'd play Stranger Things Monopoly, and we would play games over and over again, keep count of how many wins we have. But this wasn't just for fun. was out of necessity. As kids, we I would say we grew up a little bit too fast. We we grew up in at least in that household that our parents got drunk. My dad and my stepmom would get drunk and they would get abusive. Not much so to me and my sister, but to each other, there was a lot of domestic abuse, and that honestly scared us. So we would hole up in my room and confide in each other. And with that, sorry, with that came a lot of trauma because we would hear screaming and stuff like that. So in order to combat that, we would turn on the sounds. We would turn on like music, a movie, something to block out the noise of it all. And honestly, if that was it, I don't think that would keep me up at night as much as some of the other stuff I went through. At one point, it had gotten so bad that my little siblings were there at the time. They were maybe toddlers, babies at the time. I think toddlers, and it gotten so bad, the fighting, that we had to take them to my sister's room. And me and my stepsister, we had both agreed that we're not going to let our parents in because if they got in, we don't know what they would say, we don't know what they would do, and since they were drunk and screaming at each other, we didn't want the littles to be around that, especially since they were already crying because they could hear mommy and daddy yelling at each other. It actually gotten so bad to the point where I went into my room, grabbed uh, a pew pew. I'll say that much just for YouTube censorship reasons. I grabbed a pew pew out of my dresser drawer and sat with it on my lap, ready for if my stepmom and my dad came into the room to abuse one of us, because I was not going to let that happen. I love my little siblings too much and my sister too much to let them get abused like that, and it keeps me up at night because it hurts to realize that you were willing to how do I say this? You were willing to make the ultimate sacrifice of one of your own family members for somebody you care about. And it really hurt inside because I I go to sleep every night knowing that since me and my sister we're the same age, we're already moved out of the house. It's just my little siblings there now. What's it called? they, they they don't even live in a house anymore. The alcoholism took its toll. It waged a war on our family, and ultimately, it left them in really bad debt. They had to take out their retirement plan. They had to take out like a bunch of money just to now be in an apartment after a year or two of not owning a house at all, not owning a home, and that really sucked. It really is like hurtful to see your family go through that, especially when it's your little siblings that aren't able to stand up for themselves, aren't able to fight for themselves. Yeah, and it hurts because my little brother is a mini me. I may have said this already. I don't know. This is my second time recording this because I thought about like idea, and also this way it could be more fluid, more uh, out there, more realistic, more productive. I would say. Uh, my little brother's a mini me. He likes to dress like me. He likes to change his hairstyle to look like mine. He he wants to be me. He wants to be his big brother. And although that makes me really happy, it also makes me really sad because I don't want him to be me. I want him to be his own self. I want him to not go through the struggles that I went through there. I want him to realize that he doesn't have to grow up in a household where it's drunk and abusive, and that he, or at least if he goes through it while he's young, he doesn't have to be like that as a father, and he can learn from me and how I'm gonna act with his nephews, nieces, whatever, and against what his dad acts like, and learns how to actually act as a father. Because I do not want him growing up in a household where having multiple girlfriends at one time is accepted. I don't want him to grow up in a household where drinking so much that you become abusive of your own family is accepted. That's not at all right. And I want him to grow up in a household where it is fundamentally imposed that humans are humans and that we should treat each other like humans. We shouldn't be treating each other like trash. Like what's it called? There are multiple people in my life, and well, there are some people in my life, and I will not name names for the sake of it, but they're really supportive of ICE, and I think that is really against, especially what I'm trying to go with about this channel, is that we need to be a collective society. We don't need to divide each other up based on race, religion, gender, sexuality. Love is stronger than hate. We need to show love. We need to encourage love to be shown throughout. And I think that's really important that I get that message out there. That was what keeps me up at night. And if y'all feel like confident enough to share, maybe this speaks volumes to you. Maybe you gone through this exact thing. Maybe you gone through something a little bit different, but you slightly understand. Or maybe you don't understand at all, but you have a story of your own. Don't be afraid to talk about it in the comments. I would love to hear about your story, because ultimately I want to learn about y'all. I want to learn about everybody in this world. I have friends overseas, and I love hearing about like what they did in their day-to-day life. Like, for instance, I have a friend from Japan, and she's Buddhist. I, I I like to ask about like Buddhism. I like to ask about like, oh, what's life in Japan like right now? What's going on right there? Stuff like that. So please do not be afraid to talk. What's it called? I didn't exactly prepare like some like itinerary or whatever to ask questions on, but I will be setting up like preemptive questions for my guests in the future, uh, where they like of course if conversation's flowing, we're gonna keep it flowing. I'm not gonna cut them off and be like, okay, next topic. But if it comes time to it, then I will have questions asked. But I did pull up I pulled up TikTok. I got questions on my phone to answer. What's it called? There's this channel that has posted some videos talking about like this card game. We're not really strangers, and I think that is really important because, like I said in the first video, my introduction video. Ultimately, we're very similar people. Like like the ultimately there can be some like guy that's born in like let's say Africa, uh, what's it called, and he's like 90. Maybe we have some same qualities. I'm so much younger than him. I didn't grow up in Africa, if you could tell. I didn't grow up how their culture is. I don't know their culture, but guess what? We still might have some similarities together, and that's really important. And then that'll be something that's reiterated a lot in this channel. I'm sorry if it gets repetitive at all, but I will try to keep it relatively chill. What's it called? Okay, so I'm sorry. I'm reading some of the questions right now, but I I will answer some of these questions to get y'all to understand me, to know me a little bit. What's it called? Let's see. Let's look at the level two. Are you missing anyone right now? Do you think they're missing you too? Yes, I'm very much missing someone right now. It was my grandma and my grandpa. What's it called? My grandpa, he was a Vietnam vet. He was in the Air Force, and my grandma, uh, she loved baking goods. She was your ideal grandma, the one that I probably have a picture somewhere of her shoving like this like little chocolate cup full of sprinkles down my throat. It's so gross but so funny, and it makes me smile every time I see it. What's it called? My grandpa died first. He died in 2020, I believe. It was either 2020 or yeah, I think it was 2020. Uh, he died of Agent Orange, which was a chemical that they used in Vietnam. Very destructive, very bad. It caused a lot of harm on the Vietnamese, and it caused a lot of harm on us. It caused harm on both sides, and it led to a bunch of terrible things. My grandpa, he'd gotten Alzheimer's, I believe. It was either Alzheimer's or dementia. I forgot which one exactly, but I'm pretty sure it was Alzheimer's. He'd gotten that one, so much so that he didn't even recognize my grandma when she walked in, and she had to re-walk back in, and like be like, "Oh, hi, baby," stuff like that, for him to know that it was her. And towards the end of his life, sorry if I cry a lot. I'm a very emotional person, but towards the end of his life, uh, he was confined to a bed for most of it, like the end. And whenever I would visit, I would make sure to sit there and hear his stories. He told me a bunch of stories about he grew up in the backwoods of Kentucky, so him and his friends, him and one of his friends, they decided to make moonshine one day. If you know anything about moonshine, if you're making it on your own as a teen in the backwoods of Kentucky, it's gonna be messed up. So they got a big stone mason barrel, filled it up with the ingredients, and let it ferment as you're supposed to do. They come back weeks later to leaves all like on top of the coat of the mason barrel, and a dead bird on the top. If that doesn't already go to show like how potent that is, like that's bad. Uh, but him and his friends, they were the least wasteful people I have ever met. My grandpa would leave a beer on the pier on the dock of the pier, and he would still drink it the following day. And so they just swept the bird off the top of the mason barrel and drank it. And so like whenever like I think of that story, it always makes me laugh because it makes me think of that fond memory of hearing his stories. And not all the time was it true. He would talk about his adventures, his run with the law. And he did not do that. But what's it called? What was kind of important to me was just being there for him and hearing what he had to say. Sometimes it was true, sometimes it wasn't true. I wanted to hear it no matter what. And I could tell that was really important with my grandma because my grandma, uh, she struggled with liking people. She struggled with uh, finding people that she enjoyed being around. But she still was an amazing person, and I miss her dearly because 4 years after he died, uh, she committed suicide. She had struggled with feeling sorry. That's getting cut out of the short form. But what's it called? She struggled with like coping with the fact that he was gone, and she felt that like people moved on too quickly. And she felt bad about it, and uh, what's it called? I was one of those that like, as you could tell, I'm a very emotional kind of person. I cry a lot, so she confided with me a lot because I still outwardly showed a bunch of emotion about it, and so she got really depressed one night, and I guess she decided suicide was the best option or whatever. So she OD'd on medicine, and that was one of the hardest things for me to deal with. because I was about to do a foreign exchange to France, and she had been prepping me for it. She gave me a bunch of money for it. I still have that $100 she gave me. I made sure not to spend it. Sorry. Yeah, I made sure not to spend it. Uh, and after she gave me the $100, she told me, "Come back and I'll give you another mission because I bought Diet Coke for her at the store, and she paid me $100 for that." What's it called? But like she was like, "Come back later and I'll give you another mission." So like someday soon. 3 days later, that's when she OD'd, and that tore me apart because just to think that 1 minute we were laughing and enjoying our time, next minute she's gone. I had been meaning to see her before that, but I'd just been putting it off. I had been not going over there just because I wanted to like get some stuff done. I was too busy like setting up for my travels, but ultimately I missed out. And the next time me seeing her was seeing her on the bed. Uh, yeah. So that's who I'm missing right now. What is a compliment you wish you received more frequently? That's that's kind of a hard one. I think a compliment I wish I received more frequently. I mean, there's like some corny one, some cheesy one of like, "Oh, you're funny." Just because I don't get that often. I'm not really the jokester of any group, so I'm like, if somebody says like I'm funny, I'm like, "Oh, wait, you actually find me entertaining." But other than that, I would probably say that probably just a compliment that I care for you. I want the best for you. Is there anything I can do for you? Like you are doing amazing right now, and I'm so proud of you. Like just stuff like that. Like I suck with compliments. If people are complimenting me, I will start crying. And and yeah, that one there's not as much to it, but yeah. Uh, when you're asked how are you, how often do you answer truthfully? I would say I answer truthfully about like 70% of the time. Because most of the time I would say I'm good. Uh, I'm just good. But sometimes I don't want to burden people with it. Sometimes I feel like I should take it on my own. When in actuality I shouldn't. I should talk to people about my issues, but sometimes I lie about it. Uh, Especially when I'm really mad at somebody. Like it 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 depends because sometimes I'll come here and go talk to a friend and tell them how about it. But a lot of other times, like if I don't know the person that well or if I'm not comfortable speaking to that person, I will lie and be like, yeah, I'm fine. I'm doing all right. Now we're jumping up to the level 3, and then it's the as deep as it gets section. Uh, what's it called? This is meant to be a gameplay with friends, so I'm skipping past the ones where it's double. You want? I'm just gonna say this one. What do I think is my weakness? I think my weakness. This is gonna sound also cheesy and corny. My weakness is also my strength. Is that I'm a heavy empath. Whenever I hear somebody's story, I'm gonna cry. I'm gonna like feel really bad for them, and I'll get really emotional for them. But I find that's my biggest weakness, just because people can take advantage of that. people will take advantage of that and like tell you their story to get something out of you, to get something because of you. And that's happened at my work. I work at a bar at the moment. People will ask for free beers all the time. Like every time I work, there's always somebody that asks for a free beer, and it sucks because I don't know if some of these people are doing stolen valor, but a guy came up to me and was telling me about his time in the service. Like at first he asked for a free beer, and I was like, no, I'm not allowed to give you free beer. Then he was like, oh, okay. And then he just went on a rant about his time in the service and how he watched some of his friends pass away and stuff like that, and like tell me like all this stuff about it. And I don't know if it's stolen valor because he's faking being from being on the military, or if he's being serious. And even so, then I took him seriously, and I told him like I was sorry for his struggles, and like I wanted to hear him out. I wanted to understand him, and I tried to be as nice as possible with it, even though he might have just been trying to scam me for a beer. But I still didn't give it to him. But yeah. Uh, let's see. Let's see. Man, all these are for like partners. You want what? This one says, "What do you think I fear the most?" What I fear the most about myself, or like I fear, is that I'm gonna end up like people in my life that hurt others, or that I'm gonna end up like people in my life that like don't take care of themselves. I want to hold myself up to a standard where I take care of myself and that I take care of others around me, so much so that they want to be around me, that they enjoy my presence. I should- Uh, what do I recommend I let go of anything, or what do I recommend? Do you want? I'm gonna say this one to y'all. What do I recommend for y'all to let go of anything? I say this is gonna sound kind of goofy. Let go of meaningless squabbles. Like for instance, what's it called? I've seen so many people get mad because somebody ate their chips, and it's it's one of those things where it's or like somebody takes your boyfriend. Honestly, like if someone takes your partner, I get it. I get it. Like I would be so mad if somebody took my partner. But ultimately, like down the road, I would begin to think that, you know what, it just wasn't meant to be. And I can learn from this. Maybe I did something wrong in the relationship. So it's more of a learning tool than me hold on to it and resent it. I need to let go of the anger. I need to let go of the anger. Maybe not forget everything that happened, or maybe not like lose sight of myself and just like let go of it all, but let go of the anger with it, because ultimately it's just a bag of chips, and it sucks to say this, it's just a partner. There are people out there that will understand you, and that is something that I struggled with. Was I was in a toxic relationship for years. We were both toxic to each other. I'm not gonna sit here and act like I'm the victim. I was definitely toxic in my own right, and I feel really bad about it, and I regret it. Like regret being toxic every day. But she will never know it, unless she sees this video, and if she does, I'm sorry. If not, cool. But I found a relationship now that I think I'm in a more understanding, more accepting relationship where I'm allowed to do things. I'm allowed to like be myself, rather, and it makes me really excited. It makes me really excited for the future when you're in a relationship where the person understands you, or the person uh, like is accepting of you. So also let go of any toxic relationships, like whether it's a friendship, partner, it can even be a family member. If they're toxic to the point where they just drag you down every time you see them, then honestly, it's 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 your turn to let go of it. But yeah, that was it for the final level. But I actually really liked the level two questions a lot. What's it called? There's one from the level two here that says, "What are you still trying to prove to yourself?" I think I am trying to prove to myself that I'm trying to prove to myself that I belong. I'm trying to prove to myself that I belong in my career path. Uh, I'm going to nursing. I'm gonna look after other patients. I struggle with like proving to myself that I belong in this path and that I stand out more than anybody else. I'm I'm just some white guy from Texas. Like, yeah, I've gone through things, but that doesn't mean anything. But yeah. So, sorry that I'm gonna have to cut this episode short. What's it called? Uh, Somebody came into the room that I was in, and I didn't want to bother them because it is technically a study room, just nobody was in it, so I didn't want to bother. But other than that, I hope y'all are having a great, wonderful day, and I hope this video was really impactful to me. Tell me what was the most impactful. Tell me what I can do better, and tell me y'all's story because ultimately I want to hear y'all. I want to hear about y'all. I want to hear what y'all are going through. Peace and love, my friends.